But here is what we want to cover. Can you change the slide, please? We want to be very focused on some areas, and this is what we want to cover. There are strategic choices in delivery of learning and development initiatives along with technology. The strategic choices are, do we focus on large buildings, brick and mortar? I was in NTPC equivalent to batch number 1. Uttam is batch number 15 equivalent. And we know that how large PSUs, even private sector companies, have spent enormous amount of resources, money on creating big infrastructures and so on. How relevant are they? What happens to them in the future? Field versus forum, which is classroom versus on the field. Classroom meaning that you're given conceptual inputs. Field means that you're actually going to industry and trying to learn about what their practices are and so on. We'll try to cover that. Synchronous versus asynchronous, which means you interact with the faculty while the delivery of the training is going on, versus asynchronous, which is a one-way traffic, faculty to the students, which is more preferred, which is more effective. Aggregators versus content developers. I mean, we see more of the Courseras of the world, but actually aggregators, they're not content developers. There are very, very few content developers that I can really think of. Pencil versus pixels. That means the physical world of training versus the digital world. There's a lot of talk going on, especially in countries like Sweden, where they're actually de-emphasizing the importance of the digital way of learning and emphasizing the physical touch. So how much of what as a proportion? Platforms which are learning platforms versus recommendatory platforms, LXPs versus LMSs. Small language models versus large language models. We've all heard about the cost effectiveness, the deep penetration of small language models as compared to large language models, which ChatGPT 4 is a large language model. Small language models are better for penetrating on domain and so on. Domain versus skills versus soft skills. And I would love to hear also some of the panelists talk about the platforms that the government has introduced, which are really path-breaking. NPTEL is one. Then you have Swayam, now you have Swayam Plus. These are all platforms of aggregators, but they are huge in terms of content. And one may not know about them, but it's worth associating yourself with what is happening in the government and public sector. iGOT is the latest platform that the government has introduced for central public sector employees as well as government employees. These are very, very powerful. So should we depend on certifications given by the MOOC platforms or by classrooms or a hybrid? So let's jump into the questions without further ado. I've framed 8 questions, 2 for each. All are unique. So there's no repetition, but then there's one last one, which is a sort of a buffer question, one may call it. So my first question is to Mr. Uttam Lal, my good friend from NHPC. The forward-looking companies have created a huge infrastructure for T&D or L&D, particularly for developing leadership skills. Land and building and training facilities that are world-class have been developed. With the onset of technology and online learning, both synchronous and asynchronous, are physical training facilities, land, buildings becoming irrelevant, especially for PSU organizations like NTPC SAIL, who have huge facilities available? Uttam?
Yeah, good afternoon, sirs. Good afternoon, August audience and the panelists on dais. I'll just ask one question from the audience. One of the very ancient thing now the future generation is going to miss or unlearn. Can anyone answer the question? Khair, baad mein puchenge. Sir, you are just, I have to deep dive and I'm getting nostalgic also because the first batch and 15 batch are sitting together and one more 15 batch is sitting here. The institutional training, or you can say the physical infrastructure with the latest technology. Because it is not that you take the Power Management Institute of NTPC, you take Management Training Institute of SAIL, Steel Authority, you take Pearl of Power Grid. These are now global institutions. They have physical training, they have the latest virtual reality trainings, and only thing you have to come over there physically and attain. And the best part of it, that I'll just quote an example when Yogi Shriram sir called me. So I told him, sir, I know that you are from NTPC. I think sir was not aware at that point of time. And he said, you know, I am from the first batch of NTPC, 1977. So immediately there is a camaraderie. If you attend a physical training, camaraderie, there is I am from this batch, I am from that batch, networking and the connectivity across. So these are some pros. And these institutions not only for only own companies, now they are imparting training even to the private sector, even to the other sectors in various fields. If you go and see that is my previous organization, earlier I was with NTPC. If you go and see the virtual reality classes of theirs for boiler maintenance, you will be amazed.
So I'll jump in and ask you, Uttam, will a day come when either the hybrid format or the online format 100% may make all these infrastructures, facilities that we've built irrelevant or only partially utilized? I mean, companies are so sensitive about utilization of facilities.
So I'll answer this question, sir. I think they are symbiotic. Because after the onslaught of COVID, the training, most of the trainings they started on.
I'm going to push you a little more. Supposing the hybrid format,
Yeah.
Uttam, says 50% is online. 50% तो जाना पड़ेगा classroom के लिए. और
नहीं।
बाकी time क्या करेंगे आप?
सर मैं बता रहा हूँ जैसे for CPSEs we have to go through a all India test or everything for the induction level. So all induction level has to go to the physical training. But for the top bosses, if a person sitting at the helm of affairs of a plant is a separate unit. Power plant is something that you're just seeing the lights, but to generate this electricity is a tough task. And how it has been designed that the CEOs, we do have hybrid training for them. So after their office hours, generally they all dedicate their timing. They are on a computer at their desk, and the faculty across the globe, they train them. So it's the most suitable one. If you take my view, sir, it is the hybrid one. For the up to a middle level manager, we should have the physical training. That will not only bring the networking, we should have a training with across the industries that will have a bigger, larger network. And for the top bosses, they may not get such a long time. It's a 2-month training for CEOs, sir. CEOs or business unit heads through hybrid mode, and it was very successful. So it will, I think, अच्छा आप कुछ बोलने जा रहे हैं?
No, let me break the rule a little bit and ask Samik to comment on this because he has a huge Gyanodaya, which is a part of the Aditya Birla Group facilities. 1 word or 2 words on that, and then we'll pass on to your question.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be specific to your question. I don't think it'll become irrelevant. I think the use will change, but the power of physical connect, be it when you're communicating, when you're learning, there are certain forms of learning which can certainly be done more digitally. But there are certain forms of learning which I believe will continue to need physical interaction, physical space.
You inaugurated recently a phase 2 of Gyanodaya.
That's
Would you
right.
have a phase 3 in the wake of technology?
Probably not, because at least not in the foreseeable future. Because hybrid is the way. I agree that hybrid is the way. So the growth may slow down in terms of physical infrastructure, but it's not going to go away. And also now, we are going away from this model of very large central facilities.
Yeah.
You're also building facilities
Decentralized.
everywhere and decentralizing.
Thank you for that. But coming to your question, what is your opinion, Samik, about using small language models, SLMs in learning and development? Can small language models, SLMs, be more effective than large language models, LLMs, for domain-specific training, programs, quizzes, other learning methodologies while reducing costs and improving efficiency?
First of all, thank you for having me here. I guess these are the kind of questions which are getting discussed and debated today. So, to my understanding, the key, there are a few differences rather than one being more effective than the other. Small language models are effective for certain types of learning or aiding learning, let's say, and large language models are effective for certain other types of learning. So, large language models by definition are more complex, require more computational power, you have to get to the cloud, the security requirements are very high, but the advantage is that you can kind of generate or create content for large complex programs. On the other hand, small language models, to keep it simple, is useful when so it can be on a on an on-premise server. It can be more useful when, let's say, the answers are one or two. You don't have to look at millions of sources to arrive at the answer. There is one right answer, not many points of view. So therefore, typically what I'm seeing where small language models are getting used in combination with large language models in the hybrid world in the world of learning. For example, at Hindalco and Tata Steel, I know we are using small language models to create and translate SOPs into standard work instructions for workers on the shop floor in vernacular language. So that's one specific application. It's very specific, it's simple, it doesn't require you to boil the ocean, and
especially for safety.
Yeah, for safety. I mean, a lot of the work instructions anyway are about safety, but quality as well, some operational stuff as well. So, or if you're doing an assessment and you want to run a quiz and there are specific questions and answers, again, a small language model can help there. Because large language models, if you have to customize, it's extremely expensive. You really have to spend a lot of money, and you have to invest in a lot of things to make it specific to your organization. So simple, specific stuff, small language models, more generic, global stuff, more complex stuff, you have to get to large language
So we have to attract
models.
a little bit of the audience which is still stuck there. So let me throw a curved ball at you.
Sure.
Tell me, in business schools, should assignments be allowed using ChatGPT 4 or no or yes, and why?
So, I mean, right now the situation, of course, is there are lots of tools and softwares which check for plagiarism, and ChatGPT 4 is still seen as plagiarism or the equivalent of it. You're not supposed to use it. But my personal view is that it's okay to allow ChatGPT 4, because then that becomes a base for everybody. And then the differentiation is, how people are able to use that as a base and then build on it. It's like the debate on, and that's going on even today in some parts, where should you allow the use of calculators in exams and where should you not? And with time, I believe, all these things will become par for course and will be allowed, and the differentiation will come on top of that. So, which to my mind is progress.
Incidentally, IIM Ahmedabad allows ChatGPT 4. The American school in Delhi allows in fact, they encourage people to use ChatGPT 4. Great. Thank you for that. So I have a question now for Sudeep. If one was to keep aside the K-12 edutech and consider the edutech opportunities for mature audiences, such as middle and senior management, so I'm saying let's keep the K-12s off, including the not so famous debacle that's happened with overvalued company very recently, which I don't want to name. The aggregators seem to be more than the content developers, okay? Examples of aggregators are Coursera, Udemy. Should organizations prioritize supporting domain-specific content developers instead of aggregators to enhance learning opportunities for senior management and specialized audiences?
Yeah, I think, There are a lot of aggregators that are available for the small, different kind of training programs, and all the large organization we are using as a in our learning management system. This is basically for the yeah. Okay. Yeah. Basically, this is a very apt for the beginners. It's a very good content. It's a very good applications are very good, and this is really good for the all the beginners. And mass scale learning is very apt for this kind of learning platform. But at the same time, we need to have something which is more relevant for the middle management. I always, like the quote of Benjamin Franklin. He said, you tell me and I forget. You teach me, I may maybe remember. If you involve me, then I will learn. Learning is all happening because of the different kind of involvement. And the senior management or middle management leadership is all about, learning from the peer level and learning from the different case studies. We cannot have the same kind of nugget or same kind of training programs for all, middle management and senior management. Today we are having a lot of initiative which we are taking in our organization in Volvo and Aisha, and we send them for the different management institutions. It's maybe the IMD Lausanne or Watson or Harvard. It is basically learning with the peer level. What experience they are getting from the peer level, experience. This is very relevant for all the middle management and the senior management.
Sudeep, the question is a little different. The question is that content aggregators are like, sorry to use this controversial example, like orchestra generators of a musical piece. If one was to be very critical about music, you pick up a chord from here, you pick up a chord from there, and your skill is in putting it together. So aggregators, even the most advanced ones, are like that. They're able to pick up the content and put it together. So they seem to be more than the original content developers. So if you don't have original content developers, what do we do? So do we encourage them? If so, how was my question?
Yeah, I think, as you said, that the synchronized learning, when we have a lot of good content developer, and we can customize based on need of the organization. And this is very important, that how we can align our organizational learning need with this kind of the content developer. And I don't feel there is any challenge on the content developer vis-a-vis the standard model which is available in the different course module.
Let me go to Ganapati now for the question. Ganapati, in your view, what is the proportion of synchronous and asynchronous learning for making adult learning effective?
Thanks for this opportunity. See, before answering your question, I'll also tell you, it depends on where we are using. For example, if we are doing more of a leadership training program, maybe leaders can learn on their own. They can learn from others' experience. Maybe 70% on to asynchronous and 30% on synchronous learning. We have a wonderful management training program where we make them to shadow the great leaders.
Sorry, I forgot to add one question to this.
Yeah.
Should it be instructor-led or participant-led?
That's what I'm trying to say. Instructor-led is something where we use it on management training program where they need to learn a lot of things. We allow them to shadow. We allow them to learn from the teams, groups. At a mid and senior level, they learn on their own. In fact, we had a very controversial debate internally. Now the management trainees, they ask us a great platform. Tell them they don't want the normal LMS. They want a very interactive platform where they want to connect, collaborate, and then learn. So with that kind of an environment, I think the world will move more from a asynchronous learning from a synchronous model. Wherever you want to do a problem solving, for example, we had a problem of underwriting, some of the critical underwriting models, where you need to have people come together, solve those problems, where you need to have a synchronized learning.
You're bringing in the aspect of one to many and many to one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Of course, learning is always one to many, normally many to one, through yeah, people together through a systematic approach, people together through something like a TED Talk. We have internally a TED Talk model where people come and share those knowledge. It's not only the learning platform. We do it multiple ways, because at the end of the day we learn, and then we don't want people to again relearn by doing some mistakes. So wherever there is a possibility of sharing those knowledge, we ask them to share it through various platforms. So the platform carries those knowledge, basically. Yeah.
Ganapati is from the fintech industry, and his company lends to aspiring home owners.
Thanks for this advertisement.
Okay. So then we have a question now for Uttam ji. Platforms developed by the government such as NPTEL, Swayam Plus and iGot, Swayam also, not only Swayam Plus but Swayam also, have proved to be very efficient in developing and aggregating content. How can government developed platforms be made more enhanced and interesting for learners to stay engaged? One of the criticisms, Uttam, is that if you go through typically an NPTEL video, it is a very learned IIT professor who's talking about Young's modulus, or is talking about kinetic energy, half mv squared, and trying to solve a particular equation. So it's a little dry. So how do you make it more engaging and more inviting for participants to really get into the platform and learn? And then there is all this talk about bite-sized learning, whereas a class is 1.5 hours. So it's a bit contradictory. How do you resolve all these contradictions?
Before that, sir, I have asked a question earlier. That was the skill which we are forgetting. The next generation is forgetting very fast is the writing skills. Everyone is on a keyboard or WhatsApp. Sir, that NPTEL is for advanced technological learning, so it has to be a dry one. Because a person who is well aware of if suppose a person who is well aware of a turbine, then he will go for a higher model or higher, like that that the MTech courses in power or something like that. Only thing is, we have to make it because I have attended the Harvard Management. So what they do, that videos are of a very small, then immediately they put questions. So at least you can recapitulate that what you have learned, and then again there is a complete theory about it. So it's a sequence of video, questions, theory, video, question, theory. If you go on delivering long lectures nowadays, the concentration is hardly 30 reels ka concentration aa gaya hai, sir. Even people don't saw
so the company I retired from, Larsen and Toubro, does a lot of work with tunnel boring machines.
TBM.
So which you do. That's what I'm talking about, because you're in the Heddle sector, NHPC. So rather than giving a lecture on how a tunnel boring machine works with all its fins and how like an earthworm it eats into the soil and regurgitates it or whatever, they talk about an actual walkthrough of going through a tunnel with a tunnel boring machine and the steps it takes and how to assemble a 120 meter long train. I was talking more about animation.
So you're talking about virtual reality, sir.
Exactly.
Virtual reality, sir, if you go and see the virtual reality, you can, once you wear the gadget, you can climb up the boiler up to 80 meters. In real life, pasine nikal jate hain, sir. I pata nahi how many of you have climbed at that bucket lift up to 270 meters. Zindagi mein ek baar chada tha, phir kabhi nahi chada. डर गया इतना बुरी तरह ऊपर जाके हालत खराब हो गई थी. So in virtual reality, that as you said earlier, safety part is already taken care of, and you do whatever you want to do, and if there is any mistake on your part, there is no effect is going on the production or anything. So but sir, you have to have some theoretical input into it. So कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा सा तो ड्राई होगा सर. उसका तो
जैसे एनटीपीसी में पावर प्लांट प्राइमर होता था, आपको याद है?
पावर प्लांट फैमिलराइजेशन होता था, पीपीएफ सर.
उसके साथ एनिमेशंस भी जोड़ो. That's what you said. Okay.
सर इफ यू गो इनटू बिकॉज मैं भी एनटीपीसी से जब एनएचपीसी पे आया तो इट्स वेरी टफ to operate a TBM machine and the geological surprises. I don't know many of you have seen that stone blasting. जब तक आप उसको अगर हम तो वीडियो दिखा देते हैं व्हाट इज़ अ स्टोन ब्लास्टिंग इफ यू गो आप तो टनल देख रहे हैं ना ये जो सीलिंग टनल्स है टू दोस हैट्स ऑफ टू सिविल इंजीनियर्स because you don't know what is going to come. Methane gas is going to come. Suddenly the stone start shooting. हमारे एक GM का एक
And if the tunnel boring machine is stuck in the hill,
then it's
you can never
hell,
take it
it
out.
will never recover.
64
sir.
crores gone.
It is never recovered. But हाँ, NHPC has recovered it, sir.
Samik, a question for you. There is a debate that recently started about learning methodologies for younger people. Therefore, the concern is on digital learning's impact on younger audiences. In the light of digital learning being unhealthy for younger people, Sweden's shift back to traditional methods. Sweden has made a bold move to go back to paper, pencil, chalk, and board learning. What are your views on balancing digital tools with traditional methods for adults?
So, you know, like the world is changing very fast and lots of things are changing very fast. But my belief is that there are some things which take longer to change. And one of the truisms which take longer to change is that too much of anything too fast can be a bad thing. Similarly, if we lose balance, it may not be a good thing. And therefore, my view is a lot around balance, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. So, yes, young people, why young people? COVID and post-COVID, we have seen that multiple people have had mental health issues, issues with focusing. There are a lot of researches which have happened that, young people today, writing is one part, but they are not able to read a whole book because they are not able to focus. And a lot of that is because of overdose of bite-sized, digital, specific, personalized, beyond customized, and so on. So, therefore, in my view, there is a place for both. There is a place for digital, and some of the panelists have already talked about some of the contexts in which, digital is more effective. But suppose some training is about a lot of peer learning, a lot of interaction, a lot of creating together. That's going to be very hard to do digitally, in spite of all the collaboration platforms and collaboration tools we have. Whereas if it's a little bit simple, something that's shorter, something that can be gamified, to the earlier point, something which you can use virtual reality or even AR for, you can do that. So that's what, at least in Hindalco, we are moving to. I would say today it's almost a 50-50, and I see that that is going to stay for some time to come. That's
Just an extension question. Do you think, Samik, it's possible to offer customized learning packages to individuals based on their learning styles? Some YouTube, some Audible, some may want a classroom format, some may want an interactive format, some may want... So can we have infinite number of choices? Is it feasible?
I guess infinite is again hard, but we can provide choice to people because today technology allows that. Especially if it is digital learning, then it's easy. But if it's a classroom, you have many people together, then you have to, then the choice is more traditional. You have these conferences and you decide which room you want to walk into depending on your interest. But if it's digital, the individual level customization can only happen in a digital forum.
Just can I add something? If,
Of course,
if
please,
cost
please.
is not a problem, you can add anything today. You have, yeah.
Coming to that point, and I'd like each panelist to please comment. What do you think is the cost benefit of this going into digitalization? It's not cheap. You made a very good point. It's very, very expensive. If you want to get into a LXP, a recommendatory platform, it's expensive. So is it worth the money? In fact, that's my next question to you, Ganpat. You can take off from there and we can hear
Sure.
what each panelist says also.
Certainly. Those were the days, when I hit the corporate, that's the time, LMS came. Earlier to that, there is no LMS. It's all only classroom training. I'm talking about, late 90s or maybe mid 90s. Post that, you saw a lot of LMS, and LMS was, used like a compliance, basically. You need to have something maybe in our parlance, if you want to conduct code of contact, or if you need to do something for RBI, NHB, then you put those kind of training program, ensure that each person attend those training program. But today world is actually very different. They want a purpose. When they want a purpose, they want everything personalized. So the LXP is something they look for. And your LMS, you need so much of content creation, curated
The
content.
distinction, as I understand,
Yeah.
in a LXP is it recommends, just like in Amazon, if you type Z8 mirrorless camera, you will get for the next 15 days recommendations
Yeah.
of Canon, Nikon, Z9 and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Like that, if there are nuggets of knowledge that are thrown at you, thrown is a bit of a harsh word, but are recommended to you for reading and brushing up and so on. That's the LXP.
Yeah.
But it's very, very expensive.
Yeah, it all more aggregator driven, and then it's available more than thrown or recommended. It's available for the individual for their own choice. Just imagine, you look for a leadership training program. You look at multiple models of leadership, maybe a servant leadership model, and then try to understand how the model works. Where should I use that model, and the LXP throws, who are all the successful leader use those model, and some of the case studies, how interesting it would be. Your management train is the people who are coming and hitting the corporate, they look for those kind of a buffet approach rather than of, telling, in the factories, we used to have Monday means this would be the menu, Tuesday means this would be the menu. They don't want all those things. They want to choose what they want. And the LXP is the one.
Cafeteria approach.
Yes. and it actually engages them much deeper than ever. In fact, I just want to add one more thing here. There are few people recent from my organization. They rejoined my company, and when I asked them, why did you rejoin? I didn't give an increment or extraordinary hike because they moved out. They said, the learning is very high here. So they look for the learning. So I think the
Using
LXP,
learning as a EVP.
yes, EVP.
Sudeep, there's a question for you, and you raised it during our pre-panel discussions. You belong to a company which is a joint venture between Eicher and Volvo. You manufacture buses, trucks, and so on, a very high end. And some of us are using that term in a generic way. आप Volvo bus में गए क्या? So Volvo is becoming like Xerox किया है. So tell me a little bit about manufacturing sector and the construction sector where I have spent a lot of years in. How do you attract people to get in there? Because there is this so-called Indian mindset which is being touted that youngsters want only AC rooms. They don't want to, dirty their hands on the shop floor. They want to be in very sophisticated environments. So how do you change the mindset?
Yeah, I think, as you rightly said, we always had a challenge to attract talent for the manufacturing. And we are almost more than 40-year-old organization. And we always believe on building talent rather than fishing talent from the outside. We have a very robust campus engagement program, and where we take a talent from different IITs and NITs. Base school. Recently, when we are designing, we are manufacturing one truck plant in Bhopal, which is a capacity of more than 100,000, trucks in a year. And we thought that, what change will bring in that manufacturing plant that will able to attract the right kind of talent. First of all, we decided that it's all Gen Z. We have more than almost more than 40% population is Gen Z, and again we have to recruit a large number of the young talent from the different campuses. First, we decided that purpose and passion has to be aligned. The purpose of the organization and the passion has to be aligned of this young talent, and our recruitment process starts from there only, and we start recruiting from the different campuses, those who are really auto enthusiasts. And second thing, how we can bring more diversity in the shop floor. what we are the only manufacturing, CV manufacturing, commercial vehicle manufacturing plant, where entire line for the small commercial vehicle, they, manufactured by all female. 100% female, they are manufacturing a complete truck plant. And when we are designing the entire shop floor, it's almost 1 kilometer long shop floor assembly line, and the average height of the female is 5.2 inches, and entire shop floor accessibility, their visibility has to be designed as per their height and height, and that was the one thing which we implemented while designing the shop floor in assembly line. And today, it's very successful, and recently, Volvo Group chair.
Let me add an extension question. There are issues about dignity of labor.
Yes.
Typically, the accusation is Indians do not want to do it yourself. They'll have somebody to clean your car and so on. How do we get this hands-on attitude more ingrained, like Germany and America and so on? Other panelists could also follow in case they have any comments on it.
For auto industry, it is a little bit easier because it's more highly sophisticated, shop floor. It's 100% IoT or Industry 4.0 compliant shop floor manufacturing. And that way, they need not to do anything which is, below their dignity. And second thing, how we have made this entire shop floor more digital. It is Industry 4.0, it's more digital. And they have to take a decision based on the different data-driven analysis, and they are more productive. And then we provide a lot of safety measure. Third, on the sustainability, 100% plant is green energy. It's more than 70%. It's a green energy. And most important point, how we have creating the shop floor more innovative. Today we have to design a different product, and as you all aware that that automotive industry in transition, we have to work in electromobility, we have to work on CNG, LNG, hydrogen with the IC, and these are the few things which is going very fast, and we don't know where we land, maybe electromobility or hydrogen with ICE.
Samik, would you like to
Yeah.
comment on this change of mindset issue and also the cost issue?
Yeah,
that we
first
talked
let me
about?
start with the mindset,
Please.
because that's something we have been working on quite passionately. Yes, it's a challenge, but let me talk about the factors which help to get people more hands-on. So we have been hiring approximately 250 graduate engineers every year for the last 5-6 years, largely from NITs. And we hire diploma engineers also, but that's a different story. It's a little easier to get them hands-on because of expectation, background, history, and all of that. But with the graduate engineers, we have found 2-3 things. One is that if they are able to see how that being hands-on and running a plant or at a project stage, doing the commissioning with their own hands is going to contribute to their career development and growth, then it becomes a little bit more acceptable and easier. Second is, the world has always been competitive and comparative, but when they see that all their peers are also doing it, there is a degree of equality. It's not that some people are being spared and some people have to do it, then the acceptance goes up. So now we hire about 30 to 33% women management trainees, graduate engineers. Even they have to go into all the 3 shifts. Even they have to go and operate machines. Forget just the guys. And we are insisting that first 2 years, nobody goes into maintenance planning and stores and other places where you come in general
Little
shift.
curved ball here.
Yeah.
What do the parents say? Top IT company or top manufacturing company?
So I think there are all kinds of people. So we go and hunt for people who have a little bit of passion for manufacturing. And we look at the background. So we don't go for the toppers in the class necessarily. So we look for all-rounders who are a little bit more passionate about manufacturing. There are hits and misses. There are many people who work with us for 3 years and then go to an IIM and do an MBA. So that also happens.
Please come in a minute. On the cost issue, LXP, LMS, is it worth it, not worth it? Too expensive? How do you,
it's a chicken and egg in the sense that, as adoption goes up, cost always goes down. But to increase real adoption, you have to invest ahead of the curve in quality. And quality is what takes the cost of digital learning high. So for example, you can have animation, but high quality animation is, as we know, extremely expensive, and so on and so forth. So I guess like most other things, it's a bit of a balance. You'll have to take some bets. In the areas where digital learning makes a lot of sense, you have to provide high quality and make those investments. So on my technical training, just to your point, over the last 6 years, I have increased my technical training budget from, it was at fairly low levels. Today we spend anything between 12 and 15 crores a year just on technical training.
Uttam?
Yeah. As far as parents are concerned, sir, now we are directly tapping the parents. That this is what my company is.
You are?
Directly sending mails to parents, especially for the girl child, that this is what my company is. Don't go by the name of the plant. If I say Chamera 1, Chamera 2, Chamera 3, they will say, ये कहाँ है पता ही नहीं. If I say them Dalhousie, खजियार, जहाँ कुछ कुछ होता है का shooting हुआ था, oh, that is a place. So a little bit of marketing is required to tell them this is the fact. This is one thing, and एक हमारा बड़ा, that is for all CPSCs, because we are, especially power sector is a regulated sector, sir. So we have to work under a parameter. We cannot go beyond that. हम एक चीज़ कहते हैं सबको कि नौकरी के साथ भी, नौकरी के बाद भी. ये हमारा पंच लाइन है.
Little bit on that dignity of labor part you were about.
Sir, as far as dignity of labor is concerned, we do have respect for each and everyone. We generally work as a team. Otherwise, it is very difficult whether you have to construct a boiler or a dam. अगर आप वहाँ पर डिफरेंस करने लगेंगे ना सर, so you will not be, जहाँ पे वो एक है ना पुरानी कहावत की, जहाँ काम आए सुई क्या करे तलवार. So सुई is also important and talwar is also important. So we have to give equal respect. And as far as the recruitment is concerned, कोई रेशो नहीं है सर. Those who compete the net, whether it is a woman, a girl or a boy, they are all welcome, and in both the places, because I am through and through power sector guy. At many top positions, now is being headed by women. My batchmate is sitting over here. She is heading a company's head at HR. So we don't, and as far as the remunerations are concerned, it's a equal remuneration, so वो भी issue नहीं है sir. And कई चीज़ें हैं जो कि कभी कभी लगता है कि शायद हम भी लड़के होते हैं. कुछ फैसिलिटी ऐसी है जो हमको नहीं है लेकिन उधर है.
I'm tempted to ask you a question about this equal increments, but that's a different topic, another day. Let's open it up to audience now on the topic of learning and development assisted with technology. That's the topic. I've had a very interesting talk with these gentlemen. Anything that you'd like to ask? We have 4-5 minutes left. Yes, please. Grab a mic. Please state the speaker whom you would like to address the question to.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Fanindra from Bank of Baroda. So my question is Uttam, sir. Sir, regarding this learning
Question
and
is to
development- Uttam, sir.
Uttam sir.
Sir, regarding this learning and development, we talk about the Generation Z or the upcoming workforce. So from the learner's point of view, any such strategies that organizations need to follow while implementing any policies regarding this L&D? Because they are having different aspirations. I mean, we could say reverse mentoring, or they have different idea about the training what they require actually. So
For the seniors like elders like us, not seniors, elders like us, reverse mentoring is very much required, and which I had gone through, because I have never worked in a hydro sector, and the person now he is retired, he mentored me to successfully accomplish my job. He is my executive director, because I am very much aware of the thermal sector, but not about hydro sector. He is Mr. Gudia. So that is one point of it. And as far as the generally we recruit from E1, E2, that is a government scales. So we have a very designed and stratified learning center. You go through induction training, then every 3-4 years you go through advanced management training, capsule training, all sort of trainings are there. And if you are a very good in paper presentation, we sponsor you. There is a body called INCOL, that is International Committee on Large Dams. So many of young guys, hardly 30 or 35, the deputy manager, they have presented their papers, because NHPC is a unique company. We are from, we design the dams and we construct the dams. We don't need any external support, sir. Concept to commissioning जो बोलते हैं ना sir, that is a company NHPC. So by which we, and then there is a formal system of international training. उसमें कई parameters हैं, how is your PMS and everything. But if you are performer, so this it's a very long process. And हमने दो चीज़ ऐड किया है. एक हमने डिफेंस ट्रेनिंग ऐड किया है. डिफेंस ट्रेनिंग ऐड किया है स्पेशली फॉर गर्ल्स की with either CRPF or army. 1 week training, एक तो थोड़ा सा टफ बनाने के लिए और थोड़ा सा ज़रूरत पड़ने पे पटक भी सकती है किसी को मेरी ऑफिसर वो. और दूसरा कि हमारे जो मोस्ट ऑफ द डैम्स आर एट अ वेरी ब्यूटीफुल हिली एरियाज. सो I talked to a girl, she's Nikita, she is from Andhra. She is working in Sikkim. I came back from Sikkim. I asked her, why you joined from Andhra to Sikkim? She said, sir, I love adventure. And she's working, and she's in HR, she's working here. So ample of opportunities are also there to develop their professional skills. And my HRD team and the training team is working that we can create a horizontal platform so that if suppose you want to learn guitar, still we are not able to provide on a complete national platform, but we are trying that, yes, if you get a chance, अपना आप सीखते भी रहो, करते रहो, बढ़ते रहो.
Thank you.
Very interesting. So you're following the path of the national education policy, which says you can do physics and music together. Yes. Fantastic. Any other question?
Sir, my name is Ajay and I'm representing Seneca Global here. Sorry?
No, after you, the lady.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. So the question, in fact, is around which one is best, the aggregator or the content writer? I mean, over a period of time, the aggregators are so popular that the content writer is becoming insignificant. I think, I'm not sure about what was the response. But what's wrong in having an aggregator who would actually identify the content of different platforms?
This panel discussion is not about value judgments. It's a debate.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's an opinion about what you have, and there's no right or wrong. So there's nothing right or wrong
Okay,
about
so
an
in that case, what's
aggregator.
your opinion? Okay, having an aggregator, would it insignify the content writers?
I think the emphasis should be much more on content now. The aggregator type have made,
So the point
made a
is,
big impact. Now I think it's important that you have a lot more specialized domain offered through SLMs. That's my personal view. Maybe wrong, or maybe you don't agree.
And if I can add to that, as India is trying to get more into manufacturing. So if you look at Hindalco, for example, you may have read that we are investing a lot in India itself, about 50,000 crores in the next 3-4 years. A lot of it is completely new technologies. For example, copper foil and aluminum foil for EV batteries. Now, there is no knowledge on that. We have to develop knowledge and then content. If we go to an aggregator, you will get very generic stuff and you will not be, which will not be relevant for what you need.
Absolutely. That's
I,
our view.
No, I have a view on this. We have AI eating AI, right? No, AI is going to go and then artificial intelligence is about to leave and you have adaptive intelligence to come. So with that, I think, aggregator-driven learning will come into force. Maybe it will slowly will eat that space. Of course, if you really look into the learning, a T-type learning, if you want to really go in depth, you need to have a specialized curated content. If you really want to learn at a 20,000 feet, your aggregator-led learning can help.
so to put it like this, horizontal learning, aggregator is a better, but if you have to go vertical, then a content writer is a better.
Both are required. Our view seems to be that more of vertical is required at this moment. Yes, ma'am. That's the last question before we break for lunch.
Okay. First of all, I want to compliment this panel. Wonderful panel, and as moderator, Yogi sir, you are a tough moderator. And I feel very proud. Two of my alumni of NTPC are sitting over on the stage. Yogi sir, our first batch, and Uttamji, my own batch. And wonderful views from Samik, Sudeep, and Ganpati. My question is like most of the trainings in India, and especially in PSUs, are input-based trainings. okay, this is the topic and we are giving you the inputs. And the main part is the measurement, how these inputs are helpful for the organizations. That remains always a challenge. So my question to Samik and to Ganpati, in your organization or in your, with your experience, how do you measure that the cost of the training which you have invested, how it is benefiting to the organization and how this employee has been developed, how this competency has been developed. So how do you measure it? Thank
Very
you.
quick responses because the organizers are telling us to be quick, but I have to add a spin, which is my job. Education is now being more and more oriented towards outcome-based education, OBE. The government is talking a lot about OBE. Like that for training, how do we devise metrics for retention, application of whatever you learned?
See, as rightly said by Yogi sir, all of them are outcome based, you know. So none of the training program, at least in my company, we don't do it for the heck of doing it, because end of the day that should solve some problem. So it can be on underwriting skill, it can be on a product related skill, it can be a selling skill. So we look at, you know, the post and pre training parameters, the KPI delivered by the individual, and the managers whomsoever nominate or the people who self-nominate, will ask them, no, what would be the metrics you want to take, rather than of HR giving certain metrics and then say that, no, these are all the parameter you should improve. We ask them what parameter you will improve, and then they need to present that through an online platform. So that helps, and then we do a cross-verification with the managers, and that helps on a broader level.
Thank you very much, truly appreciate. Any last word?
Yeah, I'll just add two quick things. So two types of trainings. One is, you know, when it's more on the technical side. So for example, with digital training, we are clearly measuring that the people who are getting trained, what projects they are taking on, what kind of cost savings those are delivering, etc. And that is being measured on a continuous basis. So with technical training, it's a little easier because you can also measure skill levels, whether they are basic, advanced, and we do that. The challenge is more, I guess, with behavioral training. And you have the Kirkpatrick model, and we are now progressively, at least, I mean, Kirkpatrick model has recently been revised also, but we are getting to level 3. Level 4 is still a little aspirational for us, but we have been able to, with a lot of focus and attention in bits and pieces, we are getting to level 3 on the Kirkpatrick model.
My personal dream is someday when RCT is used in measuring training, randomized controlled training, or my randomized controlled trials. You have an experimental group and you have a control group. Not yet being tried. It's being tried on work from home experiments, but not yet on training. In case you want to read more about it, type Bloom in Wikipedia, and you'll find some interesting experiments on RCT used in social sciences. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate your presence.